If you would like to see subtitles on this recording, please click on the CC button on the bottom of the video towards the right as indicated by the green arrow.
Okay, and if you don't see the two, make sure that if you're on an iPad or anything that you swipe left until you can see both screens, okay? All right, so thank you for displaying the flyer. Thank you all for joining today. My name is Joanna Chin. I am a registered dietitian with the New York City Department for the Aging. And today we have our lovely dietetic interns and Bina, who has joined us today to help moderate this cooking demo. And this event has been brought to you by the ACL Grant Virtual Smart Living Initiative in partnership with the New York City Department for the Aging. And a quick reminder that all the centers and programs should have received an email back in May 2nd from the Department for the Aging about counting virtual programming units and a memo on December 6th about nutrition education. If you have any questions about that, please contact your program officer or nutritionist. And it's quite a pleasure to have you all here today for this cooking demo. And if you haven't heard yet, our next cooking demo will be in November 16th, and we'll be teaching everyone how to make cauliflower mashed potatoes. So mark your calendars and keep an eye out for those flyers. And one more thing, another great service that our grant provides is free nutrition virtual counseling services. So those of you who are looking for guidance on weight management, diabetes, heart healthy eating, kidney friendly meals, or just general healthy eating, and are interested in getting a one-on-one session with either me or Priyana or other registered dietitian, you can email us at virtualsmartliving@aging.newyorkcity.gov, and that email will be placed in the chat box shortly. You can also call us at our number to set up an appointment. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can start cooking some zoodles. And for those of you who are wondering what a zoodle is, it's basically a zucchini in the form of a noodle, hence zoodle. It's a great pasta alternative. So if you're trying to avoid the carbs, if you're trying to go gluten-free, it's a great way to sneak in some more vegetables. You can use other vegetables as well. For instance, pumpkin, cucumber. I have here some like kohlrabi that I found from the store. You use radish, but zucchini is my personal favorite. It's full of fiber, vitamin C, antioxidants, and water. It's heart healthy, it's diabetic friendly, kidney friendly, and also works if you're following like a low FODMAP diet, which is gentle on your digestion. Okay, so before we get started, we want to make sure that we washed our hands. I've already washed my hands and I put on my handy glove because I have a cut on my finger. And then we can cook along together. Hopefully you have the recipe, and then maybe if you have the ingredients, we'll be cooking along together. But so let me go through what kind of ingredients that we need for today. Starting with half a pound of ground turkey. We've got half a cup of marinara sauce. I use this brand here called Rouse, my personal favorite. They have very limited ingredients in here, just really just tomatoes, olive oil, garlic, basil, pepper, a little bit of salt. But now when you're buying canned tomatoes, make sure that you are paying special attention to the sodium in the packaging, and look at the portion size also. So half a cup does have about 420 milligrams of sodium, so it's a lot. So just use sparingly and make sure you're not overdoing the serving size, okay? All right, and then we've got some light sour cream. Doesn't have to be light, I just happen to have light. And we need about 3 to 4 zucchinis. I have 3 pretty large zucchinis. This one's a little bit on the smaller side, so I didn't need all 4. And you've got, and so I have some fresh basil also off to the side somewhere here. And as far as utensils go, you really just need 2 skillets. I have my non-stick skillets here, and a knife for cutting. And then we need a spatula or a spoon. a serving bowl for your finished product, and we need a spiralizer for spiralizing our zoodles. So what a spiralizer looks like is something like this. This is how mine looks. I got this off of Amazon a couple years ago. You could probably still find this many places. You can find it online, you can find it in stores like Walmart, Target. It's a pretty fancy contraption. It's got pretty much one use is to spiralize or to there's another adapter for this, just for slicing into thin, kind of like those potato tornado looking things. So this is what the spiralizer looks like. But if you don't have one, that's fine. We're going to be using other tools as well. For those of you who don't want to invest into a spiralizer, you can use just a plain vegetable peeler or a mandolin. And so don't worry, I'm going to be going through how to use each of these equipment to make our zoodles for today. Okay. All right. So now that we are all caught up on our ingredients and tools, we are going to start cooking. So we're starting off with our sauce. I'm going to heat up my stove just a little bit, and I'm going to kind of shift this so you can see it without knocking anything over. It's a little bit tricky. We've got okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to put my heat to about medium high. And then I'm gonna let that get a little bit hot. All right, and the key is that if you have a nonstick pan, you won't need oil. So I don't really need oil for this either. I'm gonna let it get hot though. That the key is to make sure your pan is hot when you first put it in. That way we can brown the turkey a little bit better. Okay, so let's put this in. So that's our half a pound of turkey. And then as I cook, I will be opening up the opportunity to ask questions in just a little bit. Okay, so right now, all I'm doing is browning the turkey. So, so far, we haven't done much. We just gathered our ingredients, gone through our tools. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to either pop them into the chat box and our interns will ask me out loud. And for this recipe, I'm using ground turkey. You don't have to use ground turkey. You could use ground lean beef, ground chicken. Turkey is my personal favorite because I feel like turkey doesn't get enough spotlight sometimes, and it's just as good as any other meat. But if you're vegetarian, you can feel free to leave out the turkey as well. You can do beans for protein would be a great option. But the point is that in typical pasta, you have some protein coming from the pasta because of the egg that's normally in the dough. But when we're using just zucchini, we do lose out on some of that protein. So we want to find a way to kind of incorporate some more protein back into our dish again. And I do think I saw some questions coming in.
Yes, Joanna. W Max, if you do not have a machine, can you still make zoodles?
I'm sorry, can you say it one more time, Lauren? You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, better.
W Mac asks, if you do not have a machine, can you still make zoodles?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, the simplest way is really to cut up the zucchini into bite sizes if you wanted to. It would kind of almost be like a gnocchi size. But then if we want to make it kind of like a spaghetti or a pasta noodle, then you want to use a spiralizer, or you can use a mandolin, or you go to the store, you pick up one of these bags. I've seen them in the stores already spiralized for you. They have it in zucchini usually. In this case, I even found this one from Trader Joe's called kohlrabi. So kohlrabi is kind of like it's like in the turnip family. The plant looks like this. it has this type of like radish slash cabbage texture to it, and it's very nice. It's crunchy. Yeah, so they also describe it as tasting like cabbage. It would also work great in this recipe, or almost 90% of supermarkets will carry a frozen version of this veggie spirals. But the thing about frozen is that it does get a little bit more watery. But great question. And so my turkey is starting to brown. I'm just going to keep breaking it up as I cook. You want to make sure it's cooked thoroughly, that there's no more pink. And as this cooks, I'm going to see if I can angle this so you can see what the ground turkey should look like. So a little bit like this. It look a little pink on my camera, but on this one, it's a little bit more accurate. It's definitely more brown. And as it browns, you're going to smell the turkey cooking really nicely. All right, so our turkey is cooked. The next step is we're going to put in our marinara sauce. Pop it right in and make sure we are on medium high. Otherwise, if it's too high, it'll splatter. All right, let's see if I can handle this just a little bit more. Okay. So we're gonna mix our turkey with our marinara sauce. And if it starts splattering, just lower the heat. And you do want to cook the tomato sauce from the jar because it does help get rid of some of that moisture and also condenses the flavor. It caramelizes some of the sugar, natural sugars from the tomato. So it makes it very nice and fragrant. Okay, so definitely our sauce is thickening up. And the reason why I like to put a little bit of sour cream into my sauce is that it gives it this nice creamy texture. And it's kind of almost like the sweet from the tomato and the sour from the sour cream is a very lovely balance. So you just want about a tablespoon of the sour cream. You're just gonna plop it right in. All we need. All right, and I'm just gonna mix it right in. And as you can tell, our sauce is nice and thick now. We don't want a watery sauce for zoodles because the zoodles itself will let out a lot of water. So you want a thick sauce, and then the vegetable water or juices will essentially kind of thin out the sauce a little bit once you put it on top. Okay, so this is complete. We will top it off with some basil later on. We didn't need to add any oil, any salt. We could put some pepper just for taste. So we just top it off a little bit of ground pepper. You can even add in a little bit of crushed red peppers too if you like your pasta spicy. Okay, so I'm gonna just leave this on low heat on another burner back here and let that sit while we start spiralizing, okay? All right, so for the fun part, and this is not gonna take too long, don't let it scare you. We're going to use a spiralizer first, but before we do that, we need to prep our zucchini. So starting with this aside, we've got 2 large zucchinis, a small one, but we'll start with the fairly large one. I've already washed these well before our cooking demo. And what we want to do first is just cut off the ends with a knife and both sides. Save that over for composting. Okay, so our zucchini, You can leave the skin on. The skin carries a lot of antioxidants, a lot of fiber. But if you don't like skin too much, sometimes I just do maybe a couple of strips off to the side here. Like this. But I like the skin on, so I'm going to just stop right there. And so let's see if we can see my spiralizer. Okay, a little bit better. Okay, so what this contraption has is one end where you can fix the zucchini right in there like this. And the other end, we're just going to try to push it also equally into, so it's nice and fixed. So now our machine is set up, and all you're gonna do is twist and turn, and then out comes the zoodle from the other end. What I didn't do is put a bowl on this side to catch it, so we wanna do that. All right, so yes, and maybe so you can see what's happening on this end. So we've got some zoodles coming right out of our spiralizer from this end, and doesn't require much work. I'm just turning it very gently. The blade is very sharp, clearly. And so look at that. Takes little to no work. You're just spinning it. If you're doing this with your family, with kids, I would just make sure that you do most of the setup work, and then you can let them kind of crank the machine and let that come out like this. All right, so look, as they're coming out, they're coming on these lovely little noodle shapes. So fun. And they'll naturally start breaking off into like maybe smaller curls, depending on like where on the zoodle it is cutting. So you don't need to worry too much. And then you just keep going. So this one zucchini is gonna give me about a bowl and a half, maybe even 2 bowls. Just keep going. Oh yeah, this is at least 2 bowls. And then once it hits the end, it's gonna stop. There's no more to spiralize. So it obviously filled up our bowl completely. I need a bigger bowl. But so this part, we could save also for cooking, it's fine. But that's kind of part of how it spiralizes. It kind of uses that little cylinder as a way for it to hold itself. All right, and so that is how the spiral